Welcome back. This video focuses on creative problem solving. I would say as a computer scientist or an engineer, electrical engineer, you're a computer engineer, or whatever other kind of engineer you want to be, your number one responsibility in your job and key to your success would be how well you define a problem and solve a problem, because pretty much all our project, all our work relates to solving a problem. That could be improving a product or service, could be fixing a problem that exists in a product or a service, or designing a brand new service or a product out there. So all of those involve creative problem solving. So if there is one thing that one capability, other than being able to communicate well and work with other people well, that is really, really important and cuts across through all your discipline, it has to be creative problem solving. There are many techniques, there are many ways of doing it. In today's video, we'll take one that has been successful in the past and bring it out. And the key ingredient of this technique we're going to talk about is that creative problem solving has to allow you to go beyond the solutions you already know about and force you to open up your mind and your team's mind into coming up with different and new ways of doing it. And in order to do that, humans as a group, we like to go with the comfortable, what we know, and our mind keeps going back to the things we've done in the past, the things we know how to do. So it's really important to make a conscious effort to get yourself out of that mode and start thinking above and beyond just the normal ways of doing things. And that's what the goal of this process is. Okay. So that's the goal of this video at this point. So this is called the 5-step creative problem solving, and obviously, as the name implies, it's got 5 steps: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, they're put in sequence. So if somebody asks you what are the sequence of this, you say, okay, the first step for me is to understand customer needs and issues. And then I'm going to come up with a problem definition which clearly states what the problem is. Now, when you go talk to your customers or when you look at the issues, you may have a whole mess of issues. So you start with an assignment, and when you finish step 1, you have create a large list potentially of customer needs and issues. Okay, so this step 1 is called a divergent step, meaning that you go from having a mission to do something to creating a huge list of that represent the needs and the issues that the customer have. You can't really work on all of them in that form. So in step 2, what we do is we try to bring all of these needs and issues and find out what are the root causes of these, what is the key thing we got to do to be successful in meeting those needs, and be selective. You cannot address all the needs and issues. So the selection would be for this particular product or service, what is the specific need or issue that I'm going to address. So the goal of here is the one important thing, one thing to notice is you're going from many issues and customer needs to one statement of problem and definition of problem. So this is called a convergent. You bring converge means to bring things from a broad range to a smaller group or a single point. So this step 2 is a convergent step. We get all those issues, and our goal is to write a problem definition, which includes 4 sub-items. Of course, there are videos later on that go through each one of these steps in more detail and give you techniques to do this. But your goal is to be able to write a problem statement. And the key here is to remember that when you write a problem statement, it has to be a problem statement, not have any assumption about how the problem will be solved. We have a tendency to write the solution as a problem. If you do that, you narrowed yourself into a specific way of solving the problem. So we'll get into examples and how that could, you got to be careful to write the problem down, not a solution as a problem statement. Scope means how much of these you're going to solve. How is it, is it going to be millions of these being built? Is it a prototype? Is it just an idea generation? What is your goal from fixing this problem, the scope you have. The resources, what kind of resources you think you need to get this done, from people, from skill set, from material, from facility, whatever you need to get the job done. A schedule is an approximation of when you're going to do what. It can't be, I'm going to be done 3 months from now. It has, if your project's a 3 months project, then you should have checkpoints along the way, like when you're going to finish the first step of research, maybe when you finish the first prototype, when you test it, when you're going to revise it. And this also gives folks who are looking at your schedule a more better understanding if you're making progress, and also helps you and your team to stay on track. So once you have the problem, then the next step is, again, a divergent step, because you have one problem statement, but you want to generate a lot of solution ideas that you have. So this step is called divergent step, because you go from one problem statement to lots of ideas. This opening and closing, expanding and shrinking, by expanding to come up with all the possible ideas, then the next step, for example, optimal solution, is a convergent step, and it takes all these brainstorm ideas and try to reduce it to a few good optimum solutions that you can select from, okay? And so that's called the convergent step. 4 is the optimum solution selection, but that is a convergent step. And then step 5 is further convergent, because it takes that solution and reduces it. Maybe you came up with 2 or 3 recommendations, it reduces to one solution and starts implementing it at the end. So this is called the 5-step solution. It's, once again, is shown as a step in sequence, but a lot of time you do your problem definition, you go to ideas generation, you decide, oh, maybe the problem was not well defined, or maybe we need to go talk to more customers. So this is kind of jumps all over the place, but for simplicity, it's shown as being in sequence, and you may go through the sequence multiple times. So this is an overview of creative problem solving. There are a few additional videos in this sequence, which takes you from takes each one of the steps and expand upon them in more detail, give you some techniques to help you do the idea generation, the optimal solution selections, and things of that nature. Thanks for watching.